Okay, so LeBron for MVP. This is a story and a headline that has started to gain steam recently and has kind of come to a head now with this Lakers-Pelicans game from last night, because LeBron was incredible in that game, as he has been in many of them, but it's a national TV game, it's against Zion, and you could kind of feel LeBron saying to Zion, you know, it's not quite your turn yet. Like, I know I'm 35 years old. I know I'm in my 17th season, but it's not time for you just yet. And you could tell that LeBron had a little something extra for this game, national TV game. And afterwards, Pelicans coach Alvin Gentry basically said, I don't understand why this guy isn't the MVP favorite. And he absolutely destroyed the Pelicans. I mean, they had no answer. They didn't have a wing defender with the size to defend LeBron. And it was a huge issue for them. I mean, they had Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart, Drew Holiday. It didn't matter. He destroyed them. And so it makes sense, right, for post-game Alvin Gentry to be like, yeah, he's really good. He should be the MVP favorite. But it's kind of sparked this new conversation about, well, you know, should we consider this? Should LeBron be the MVP favorite, or at least like a top 2 candidate against Giannis? Because for the last, I'd say like 6 weeks or so, people have basically just decided Giannis is the MVP. And I'm right there with them. I absolutely think that Giannis should be the MVP. But let's go ahead and get into this and play this out and kind of compare the potential cases of LeBron and Giannis. Okay, so statistically, LeBron doesn't really have much of a case here. Giannis has everything on him statistically in terms of a traditional box score, with the exception of free throw percentage, 3-point percentage, and total assists, and Giannis is playing 4 fewer minutes per game than LeBron. So essentially this has to come down to a narrative argument, which is not uncommon for the MVP. This is very much a narrative-based award, as are many of the awards, and not just the NBA, but pro sports in general. So for LeBron, the case would be that, you know, even though their record isn't as good as the Bucks, they're potentially playing in a tougher conference. That's not necessarily true, but that would have to be part of the argument, right? Is LeBron is leading a Lakers team that maybe doesn't have as many pieces around him as Giannis does in Milwaukee, which is kind of funny that would be the argument. But maybe you could make that case, right? Even though LeBron does have Anthony Davis, he doesn't really have a whole lot behind that. Meanwhile, Giannis has Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe and all these shooters around him. He's more comfortable in this system, and LeBron is doing more with less. You could maybe make that argument, right, in terms of that kind of narrative. It's interesting how that would be turned around on LeBron, but let's just say that that's the case, right? You could also say that, you know, he's having a more impressive season overall. He's more impactful. He's more valuable for this Lakers team. And maybe you grade him a bit on a curve, right? Because you're considering the age, the comparison between a 35-year-old and a 25-year-old and what they're bringing to their respective teams. And maybe you start to build a case that way. And then lastly, you would just say LeBron's the best player in the world, right? Like, he's better than Giannis. That would be part of your argument. You just say, late in a close game, I like LeBron more. LeBron controls the game more. He has a bigger impact on the game, and he's just a better player. That would be your whole argument for LeBron for MVP, right? Like, you'd say, yes, I understand what the statistics are. I understand that the Bucks have a better record. I understand all of those things. But from a narrative standpoint, LeBron has simply had a better season considering his age and things like that. And having said all that, I think all those are good points. I still think that Giannis is the MVP, and I don't really think that it's possible for anybody to catch him at this point. He has had an incredible season, as have the Bucks. He has the team record, he has the stats, he has the impact, he has the narratives, he has the storylines. And even though I think there's going to be a late push to drum up interest in other candidates, just because, you know, people don't want it to just be so cut and dry, they want it to be a bit of a race between Giannis and somebody else. I don't think it's realistic to expect someone like, you know, James Harden or Luka Doncic or LeBron James to realistically challenge Giannis for MVP this season. So he's absolutely still my pick.